Hi, David Brenner, remembering when everything I loved was the same shape. The Hoagie, my girlfriend Lulu Bell Cantoni, and the Volkswagen Beetle, the car that changed the way we drove. Today's Volkswagens come in these beautiful shapes, and since now you can lease a Jetta GL for just $199 a month with no money down, you'll be in good shape too. Your neighborhood Volkswagen dealer is still changing the way we drive. And Lulu Bell Cantoni, some things never change.
Monica Malpass, Rick Williams, and Dave Frankel today at 6 a.m. Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Gary Papa, Dave Roberts, and Jim Gardner.
Monday night, protesters march outside the Philadelphia office, and 2 robbery suspects injured in a crash following a police chase on Roosevelt Boulevard. But the big story in Action News tonight is the approach of the 11th hour in the SEPTA labor crisis. Action News reporter Dan Quaya is now live at the Wyndham Franklin Plaza, the location of the negotiations. Dan, any progress at all tonight?
Well, Jim, very sadly, I have to tell you that with about 24 hours to go, about 25 before the strike deadline, there continues to be a lot of disparity between the two sides in the negotiations as to what's been going on here. A few moments ago, a SEPTA spokesman came out and announced that progress continued to be made, that SEPTA had told the union it was removing 3 sticky, non-economic issues from the table, including the controversial probationary periods for new union employees and the no layoff clause. But if this was being seen as progress, listen to how union boss Harry Lombardo was characterizing the time he has spent here tonight.
We're playing tonk and we're playing gin rummy, and occasionally we go out and eat some food. And people from my staff go out into these subcommittee meetings and try to continue to resolve non-economic issues with people who have no authority to agree with us anyway, so that we keep up the charade that there are negotiations occurring.
Earlier, both Lombardo and SEPTA General Manager Lou Gambaccini appeared before the Philadelphia black clergy.
These are your children. You are the daddy of them all.
Yes.
And you can make your children behave.
It was that prayer that sent the group, led by Gambaccini and Lombardo, behind closed doors to try and reach a settlement at the urging of the clergy. At that time, both Gambaccini and Lombardo were blaming cuts in government funding to SEPTA for their woes.
On all 3 levels of government, federal, state, and local, we are not only not getting increased funding, but we are losing ground.
The black clergy expressed surprise that both sides had waited till the 11th hour to present such a case to them. The group implored the leaders to intensify negotiations and stop the deadline clock if necessary to avert a painful strike.
And we are counting on both of you as men of goodwill with the concern of this city to hold the line. Don't put us in shackles, and we'll help you to get what you want.
Now, the black clergy is hoping that if a settlement is not reached, that both sides will continue talking and stop the deadline clock so that they will have time to go and talk to politicians that they have supported over the years for more money for SEPTA to hopefully avert a strike. But the mayor, for his part tonight, says the city has given all it can. It has no more to give. So that's the story here tonight, Jim. Sadly to say, I mean, you have such a disparity in the stories that are being given us tonight by both SEPTA and the union. I'm Dan Quaya, live on the Action Cam at the Wyndham Franklin Plaza.
All right, Dan, thank you. Philadelphia officials today released the city contingency plans for dealing with the SEPTA strike. The police department will assign officers to major city intersections to keep traffic moving. And the Chestnut Street Transitway will be open to eastbound traffic between 6th and 18th Streets. 4,000 free parking spaces marked with temporary signs will be made available in Center City, Philadelphia. Another 4,000 free parking spaces will be marked off at the South Philadelphia Sports Complex. The city will also run shuttle buses for city workers from the sports complex and the Worcester School to City Hall. SEPTA also outlined some additional strike contingency plans today. The agency will be adding more cars to its regional rail lines, which will not be affected by a strike. SEPTA says it will accept transpasses on the trains and that round-trip fares will be collected on outbound trains to help keep things moving during the morning rush hour. And by the way, SEPTA has a hotline number for any questions, area code 215-580-7800. Of course, you can rely on Action News to bring you the latest on efforts to avoid the strike. And if a strike does come, we'll make it our business to help you cope with the shutdown of the city SEPTA division to the very best of our ability. The SEPTA strike story, right here on Action News. This has been a dramatic day of legal cat and mouse. as the defense finally got its chance to sink its teeth into a key witness at the O.J. Simpson trial. Here is the latest on the case from Los Angeles tonight. Los Angeles Police Detective Mark Furman was back on the stand telling prosecutors how he discovered the bloody glove in a narrow walkway behind Simpson's home. But this afternoon, defense attorney F. Lee Bailey got his long-awaited chance to begin cross-examination and prove his claim that Furman was angry because other detectives had been ordered to take over a big case and that he planted the evidence he later found so he could stay on. Late today, Bailey directly asked Furman if he used the glove to plant blood stains inside Simpson's Ford Bronco.
Did you wipe a glove in the Bronco, Detective Furman?
No.
You did not?
No.
When you went out to where the glove was eventually pointed out to the other detectives, how long did you spend there before you went back to talk to them?
10, 15 minutes, totally.
What did you do for 10 to 15 minutes on that scene?
Look for a victim or a suspect.
You looked for a victim?
Furman also denied ever asking Simpson house guest Cato Kalin for the keys to the Bronco. An ABC News review of Kalin's testimony at Simpson's preliminary hearing last July shows that he did say a police officer asked him for the keys, but he never mentioned Furman by name. Another point of attack by Simpson's lawyer is to paint Furman as a racist. But again today, Furman denied ever having spoken to Kathleen Bell, the woman who claims Furman made remarks to her about rounding up and killing blacks back in the mid-'80s. Furman's denials produced the only light moment in an otherwise tense day.
I would have no way of knowing that the name is Bell does not ring a...
The name Bell doesn't ring a bell. Is that
Yes,
what
sir.
you were trying to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Furman also denied knowing a woman named Andrea Terry, who the defense says can back up Kathleen Bell's story. Meanwhile, Furman may be able to counter allegations that he was biased against interracial couples. At some time in the past, he apparently tried to date a singer known as Vanity, who performed with the band of the rock star Prince. She, too, may be called as a witness. In other developments, after a weekend of speculation about evidence taken from the back of the Ford Bronco, Furman testified today that the large plastic bag found in the vehicle is standard equipment and is used to cover a dirty tire if the spare is ever used. Furman will return for more cross-examination tomorrow. And finally, Marianne Gertjes has been removed from the defense list of probable witnesses, at least for now. Gertjes, currently battling fraud charges, says she saw men running away from the murder scene last June. A West Philadelphia teen is dead tonight after being shot in the back. Police were called to an alley behind a variety store on North 59th Street where they found the unidentified youth. He was pronounced dead at the University of Pennsylvania Medical Center. Police have taken an employee of the store into custody, but so far no charges have been filed, and there is no word on what led to the shooting. Meanwhile, two alleged jewel thieves are in the hospital tonight after a police chase ended with a crash along Roosevelt Boulevard. Police say the two men had just held up the Robbins Jewelers in the Roosevelt Mall and tried to make a getaway driving south on the boulevard's northbound lanes near Tyson. They hit three oncoming cars, but nobody else was hurt. The two suspects are in fair condition at Frankfort Torresdale. Police say the car they were driving was also stolen. One of the 7 suspects charged in last November's fatal beating of Eddie Pollock has been released from prison. Anthony Rienzi was released from the Philadelphia Detention Center with an electronic monitoring device. His father put up $1,000 bail last week, but Rienzi's release was delayed until the electronic monitoring equipment was in place. This was the scene early tonight in front of the district attorney's office in Center City, Philadelphia. About 100 members of the Latino community gathered to protest last week's decision by DA Lynn Abraham. She issued her report that the police were not responsible for the death of Moises de Jesus. De Jesus died last August after being subdued by police. His family says the police killed him. Abraham said he died from sudden heart failure triggered by a combination of drugs and stress. Tonight, protesters claim that the DA's office has failed to address what they call the problem of police misconduct, which they say has been around for a long time. The Philadelphia Fire Department says Saturday night's fire at the Salvation Army shelter was caused by careless smoking. The official word is that a smoldering cigarette butt was tossed between two beds. The shelter on North Broad Street has a no smoking policy, but that was violated Saturday night, and because so, 4 children were killed, all siblings. We have pictures of 3, 4-year-old Amy, 3-year-old Andrew, and 2-year-old Julie, and 5-month-old Jonathan Walters. Commissioner Harold Hairston said today that the kids were probably asleep when they were killed by the flames. The worst fears have been realized in Carbon County, Pennsylvania. Rescuers today pulled the bodies of 2 girls from the rain-swollen Lehigh River. The girls were Cambodians from southwest Philadelphia. They have been identified as 14-year-old Sophie Venn and 12-year-old Tim Chin. 7 other people survived when 2 rafts capsized on the Lehigh yesterday afternoon, and that includes a 2-year-old boy. These are the first drownings in this area in 30 years. Rescue workers in California today found 2 more bodies in a car that plunged off an interstate bridge. The bridge collapsed Friday night when floodwaters washed out sections on both sides of the bridge. Days of heavy rain in Northern California have caused about $2 billion in damage, making the storm nearly twice as expensive as the 1989 San Francisco earthquake. The rains let up enough today to allow police to reopen the main highway into the Monterey Peninsula, but traffic was backed up for 14 miles during the morning rush hour. A suburb of Denver, the scene of a series of natural gas explosions today. It could have caused serious injury and death, obviously, but as it turns out, only 1 woman was injured, and her injuries are minor. She was blown out of a second-floor window by the force of the explosion. The blast led to fires that could be seen in downtown Denver 10 miles away. A contractor apparently cut into a gas transmission line by accident. Still to come on Action News tonight, an American astronaut gets ready to lift off into space on top of a Russian rocket, and he may not be driving a sleigh, but it's now legal for Santa Claus to drive in Pennsylvania.
And do we get another day of springtime temperatures? We'll check the AccuWeather forecast.
And Gary Papa has a development in the baseball strike story and on health.